Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Disco Elysium, where, just look how professional we're looking right now. I'm gonna put away this flashlight, it's the middle of the day and it's compromising my professionalism. Okay, there we go. Look at what a professional police detective we look like right now. Let's go do some professional police detective stuff, like bother a little girl until she gives us some very expensive armored gloves. She was inside, right? And then I do want to run back over to that boarded up door and see if we are allowed to use the, with the pry bar in our hand, and see if we're allowed to use the pry bar to get in there. And then if not, we certainly have lots and lots of other stuff to do. This is going to be a big day investigation-wise. She is not even in here. Well, shoot, we don't know anything else about, like, the only place we've ever seen her was inside that house, right? We don't know where she goes to play. Was she with her twin brothers? I don't think so. We walked right past them on the way in. Look, I wouldn't put it past me, necessarily, to have simply walked past her sitting next to them and not noticed. That sounds like a me thing to do. I try real hard to be observant. I put a lot of effort into it. It doesn't always work out. Huh. This thing that we can't open is now outlined in blue. That's weird, right? Now I have the empathy necessary to know what part of... Huh. I don't know what the deal is with that. We could go check over by... Maybe she's hanging out with her mom? Maybe she went to work... Nope. Let's ask her brothers, maybe? Yeah, shoot, I didn't even think about the fact that she might not just, like, be in the same place. Hey, is little Lily your sister? Yes. Okay. Good. That's the whole line of questioning, huh? Okay. Well, not that helpful. Yep, and these are functionally the same kids. Okay, great. Well, I guess we can just wander around and look for her. We'll wander around over in the direction of that building. And I'm gonna keep holding tab periodically, because who knows where there might suddenly be a thing we could loot that we could not loot before. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't even remember... Wait, was the door that I'm talking about over here? Oh, hold on a second. I think that might be... Maybe that's her.
And Mikhail, notice the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with.
A blonde man stands next to his son, who is definitely not little Lily, pointing to the weather-worn ruins. He sees you approaching and smiles.
You, officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinaise. I'm Trant Heidelstein. You must be Kim Kitsuragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
I do love some hypertext, man. If only there was some kind of, like, protocol whereby we could transfer the hypertext from one place to another. I'm pretty curious how he knows Kim's name.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. This is the go forward option, so I suppose I should ask the other stuff first. Wait, what was that about the windows?
Oh, yes. So, Mikhail, they had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago, so they didn't have windows on the south wall.
This guy has a real... There's a sound to the way he is pronouncing his words, like he doesn't have an American accent, but they taught him phonetically how to say the words in an American-sounding way. It's just like, something about it's just not quite right. It's like, oh, yes, so, Mikhail, they had to deal with monitor glare. You know, something about this is just a little bit wrong in a way that's very unsettling for me. Probably people who have accents other than the default-ass American accent probably have to deal with that a lot in media, I bet. What were you saying about what is hypertext now?
Yes, hypertext. Jan Karp and the collection of cultural hyperlinks.
Dude is straight up talking about hyperlinks. Okay, you and Kim know each other?
No, I can't say that we've met before. But I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers.
That was a really good example of it. When he said, I can't say that we've met before, none of the words were wrong, but he didn't accent the sentence in a way that sounded like a native English speaker. I don't know. Maybe I'm Maybe I'm perceiving a thing that's not happening, but it sounds real weird. He rests his hand on the boy's shoulder. The child stays hidden behind the hem of his father's coat, clutching to his worm-themed coloring book. Oh, that sounds exciting.
Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into worms lately.
It's so weird. The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows. It is definitely an artificial cadence. Some of it, to some degree, I'm comforted by the fact that it's intentional.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms, when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
You know what? That's what it is. It's like a radio news program kind of thing. But I assume you're not here for giant worms. You know what? I'm kind of fascinated by this building. I would love to know about this building, but I also kind of want to know about the giant worms. If we could talk about that. Yeah, what's so fascinating about an empty old building anyway? Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. He raises his hand to his eyes to shield himself from the freezing snow. All four of you turn to admire the mural before you. There's like one snowflake every 15 feet. I don't really think you have to shield your eyes. What not a lot of people know is, this used to be the R&D department of Feld Electrical. And Feld, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom. Hold on, what's R&D? I don't know what R&D is. No, that cannot possibly be right. Didn't we talk about R&D when we were talking about Fortress Accident? I guess my encyclopedia skill was higher than... I've had some ideas that have caused me to forget things. Wait, what's an R&D department? Apologies, it's an acronym for Research and Development. They don't use it anymore. He smiles brightly, laugh lines around his eyes. You're probably more familiar with RTD, Research and Technological Development. Oh, mea culpa. You are not familiar with that one either. This man is a bookhead. He is a bookhead. Strong words coming from you. Alright, let's have a look at this building then. It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill. I don't think I've ever heard of this Feld Electrical. That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains. He adjusts his suit jacket. Dude's real fidgety. He's always doing something as he's speaking. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. He gestures toward the building. But Fels had an ace up their sleeve. Or, should I say, they were developing an ace up their sleeve. He grins. I'm mixing my metaphors here. Yeah, okay. What was that ace? It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a, he pauses for effect, tape computer. A tape computer. An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-at-home solution, revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bringing them to the average consumer. Which is a feat of engineering even today's giants Ream, ICN, and Zam haven't achieved yet. He grins, admiring the sentence he just produced. This is such a weird encounter, and I know that in this game I'm saying a lot if I say this thing is weird even relative to everything else that's been going on, but it really is. He assumes something like a combat stance, facing the wind. Okay, what happened? Indeed, what? The revolution? The boy wipes his nose on his sleeve. He nods. Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins. He pauses, pointing to the other building, then continues. All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management, and Feld built this side of the town for R&D. Huh. Okay, I think that's something we did not know before. That Wild Pines had such a part in building up Martinez. I can't remember if Judith told us that. And now that I've said her name, I can't remember. Is her name Judith? Wait a minute. That doesn't feel right. I guess Joyce. Her name is Joyce. What is going on with my brain? Talking to this guy is like melting my head. I can't also... I moved the thing aside by opening the menu and I can't move it back. I guess we're just not looking at the people in the conversation anymore. I hope you all enjoy the wall of this building. So you're saying that Feld Electrical built the boardwalk? Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel. But that got destroyed in the war. Well, I mean, those things gotta be illegal by now, right? A pleasure wheel. The lieutenant looks wistfully at the horizon, as if picturing gondolas rising to the sky. Perhaps reminded of a childhood memory. It's clear he would prefer that there were a big wheel lighting up the coast. Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics, but history had other plans. Talking like this is giving me kind of a headache. What did the revolutionaries do with those advanced tape computers? I have some interest in this. Oh, they used them for military communications, he says, while his son looks up, idly chewing the corner of his worm-themed coloring book. That's not how you use a coloring book. But also to write and send out press releases, the most notorious example being the Decret de Mar. And what was that? What's the March Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02. It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bon Bombazé d'Insolinde, maybe, is how that would be pronounced. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. He looks at his son, who starts giggling for some reason, his face hidden behind the book. Or, well, tried to. You did say tried to already. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention. The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion. I feel like he's been sort of uninvolved in the discussion anyway. So how did those tape computers work? Did they work like radio computers? Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware. He raises his finger, remembering something. 10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Wompty-Dompty-Dom Center in Vridfort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ackerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins, Keith and Guy Just, joined the team. Trying to... Wait, did he just say Wompty-Dompty-Dom Center? Yeah, good catch, reaction speed. I also was concerned about that. He did. He said Wompty-Dompty-Dom Center, like it's just the most natural thing in the world. What the hell is a Wompty-Dompty-Dom Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Just? It's probably Just, right? Okay, the Wompty-Dumpty-Dom Center, Paul Ackerman, Keith and Guy Just, what are you talking about? The Wompty-Dumpty-Dom Center for Contemporary Arts. There it is again, those words. He just keeps saying them, like that's a thing you're allowed to say. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels, some parallels. And that's why the curator, Paul Ackerman, chose to... You're making this up. Yeah, I'm gonna ask Kim. I need Kim in this conversation, because I feel like I might be high. Kim, is he making this up? I have a thought about that. In fact, I'm not. The Wompty-Dumpty-Dom Center, he says casually, is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vridfort, and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. He clears his throat. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing. Made of black film and folding tape structures. That is cool. I think that's cool. Oh, very, very cool, he agrees. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The Feld playback experiment vanished into the fires of '07. Well, why did the revolutionaries destroy it? Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now, all 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remains inside that building. He takes a step back. The boardwalk creaks mournfully in the wind. Huh. Well, what happened to the engineers, all the company people? Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. He smiles again, as if he's somehow personally responsible for this bleak turn of events. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers... Wait, is he saying we should just bypass the excesses of the revolution? I mean... It's probably not my place to decide whether his kid needs to hear about all the murders. I'm just gonna move on here. Hey, I wanted to ask something else, because you seem to know a weird amount of stuff. We're not going to hit him up for money. You know what? Thank you for all the interesting information. I think we're done here. No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikhail here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed. Pick your brain? If anything, this was rather one-sided. I was going to say, I didn't tell him anything at all. He did the talking. Whatever. This is weird. This is a real weird interaction. I don't know what to think about that at all. Okay, so it was the other building that had the door that was barred up. That said, let's take another quick look around here in the morning light and see if there's... It sure doesn't look like there's any way in here at all. Like, I don't even see where we could enter. It's not like there's a door that's just busted. We just, like, don't have a way to interact with this building at all. Aside from looking at this thing again. Which I guess, now that we know a little bit more about the building, might yield something. Also, Wumpty Dumpty Dom Center. It's Wednesday evening, and something heinously exciting is underway. People have gathered beneath the billowing roof of an oddly shaped trophy building, sipping wine and exchanging opinions. 29-year-old Wonder Twins Guy and Keith Yost are stars of the show, with their bomber jackets and white sneakers, head curators of this art exhibition. It's the Wumpty Dumpty Dommiest event of the year, and all the cool kids have RSVP'd. RSPV'd? Where are you, if you are not there? That's probably a typo. I don't think RSPV is a thing. We could... I'm actually really curious what this thought does. Where's the thought that's giving us money based on clicking on green orbs? Here it is. We probably don't need to keep remembering about our weird childhood game. And honestly, I think we've probably gotten most of the green orbs that we're going to get. And also, we kind of don't need money anymore. Learning cap for savoir-faire raised to 6 isn't really doing anything for us because the learning cap for savoir-faire was already quite high because our motorics is good and we haven't put any points into it yet anyway. I think I might forget this thought and put this one in just because I'm real curious what it is. In terms of, like, expanding our ability to be good at the game, this is not a great use of a skill point, but satisfying my curiosity is very important to me. I need to think about this. I need to think real hard about this. It is also only a 42-minute thought. Speaking of which, we're 3 hours and 42 minutes on that, and 10 and a half on this one. Okay, well, all that stuff will finish today. You know, just eventually. Alright, Feld Electrical R&D. Slogan, yeah, okay, there's no new options here. We can't climb the ladder. I guess this is the thing that maybe we would be able to interact with to climb up on the roof, potentially. Trying to think, what would... If there was a stat that was going to unlock my ability to interact with the ladder, I would think it would be either volition, because climbing up the ladder is scary, and maybe I just, like, need higher volition to have the idea, or, like, interfacing or hand-eye coordination. So basically what I'm saying is, probably there's no stat threshold for interacting with this ladder, because I think if there was, there's a pretty good chance we would be at it already. But you have to be able to get in the building somehow, because we can see that those stairs up there are interactable. I have no idea. No idea how we might do that. Let's just run around over here and see if we can't, get into this building. Can I check the trap again? I mean, there's probably no chance anything's going to be different. Okay. You've checked all the traps. Morel is waiting for your report. We'll get to that. We're going to be heading in that direction pretty soon. Is there anything new to do with this? Oh, actually, I can't even choose to interact with the door again. Well, that's inconvenient. Alright. I'm going to click back over here and let Revachol get running. So, we have some interviews to conduct. We need to go back to Klasia and figure out why exactly she lied to us. We have that tape now. Or figure out whether she lied to us. I don't know. We need to get some kind of the straight version of that story. So we have that tape to play for her. We also can ask her some questions about the guy, because she was unwilling to give us any physical description or anything earlier, and she said she needed time to calm down. Ooh, what is this? A drop in temperature, an easy flow of air, an empty street. Before you, a thoroughfare unjammed with lorries. No more drivers smoking on hitch steps. Just silence. And what did the smoke smell like? Chemically sweetened. Across the road, a forgotten bus stop. Corrosion has opened a hole in its roof. An elm tree watches over the building. Its branches are dripping with rain and snow. The road is smooth and motley. Craters filled with black asphalt. The asphalt first laid is gray already. A row of tenements are under construction in the distance. And who are the people who live across the road? A tub, warm with water, white with soap. A man bathes while radio waves transmit the lottery numbers. 4, 18, 21, 4, 1. A modern washing machine rattles a drawer full of silverware. What about the bus stop? Number 312D. Young girls used to come here, huddled up, hoping for more warmth than their thin coats give them. The bus took them to school. It has not run for 8 years. There were not enough girls to sustain its cost. What about the road? Craters pocked the surface. Children played in them, until heavy trucks full of black pitch rolled in. The landowners have filled the craters with money. It is a vital artery flow of trade. There's one bump on the road. A dead dog lies flat about 200 paces away, right at the turn. A dead dog? Tragedy came from the wheels of a fast RMC vehicle hurrying to work. The cold washes over you. The sound of the sea has grown distant. The wind moves the aerosol. A detective stands behind the boom barrier. A breeze moves a curl of his hair. Was that... I'm assuming that was a memory? Right, because our perception was involved in detecting a detail there. That speaks to me of it being a memory more than just some weird imagining that I'm having. Or some weird extrasensory thing. Still also looking for little Lily, because I sure would love the rest of the pieces of the armor. I mean, you know, for the investigation. Definitely just for the investigation. Lily is kind of just missing, though. Figures. Kids are never around when you need them. I guess let's go talk to her mom real quick. Maybe she'll have some idea where the kid is.
The waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards. Simmer down, bastards.
So, I know that they released a patch where they talked about normalizing the volume of the voice audio. It seems like they didn't get it all, because she is still really quiet. You know, why does she care about the waves so much? What is it with you and those waves? What is it with waves and fishermen? She tilts her head and looks at the sea. We need to be out there with them, fishing, making a living, so I ask them to accommodate me. But until that happens, I can try to assist you the best I can, she adds with a smile. So, what will it be, officer? I'm looking for someone else, actually. Nope, never mind. I'm not allowed to ask her where her daughter is. I still think this would be a really shitty thing to even ask. We might be able to get there. We have a lot of modifiers for our suggestion. But it would be, I think, deeply crummy to even attempt it. Well, shit, I don't know where that kid is. I guess we'll come back later. You know, I can't imagine she's at school or anything, because the other kids certainly aren't. Yeah, I still really... we've been here a long time, but I still feel like I really don't have a good grasp of, like, the day-to-day rhythms of Martinez. Probably don't need to go visit the pawn shop. Don't think I have anything important to say to him. Okay, this is interesting. Can I help you, gentlemen?
That's one brutal motor carriage.
Says the young one with... Okay, he does in fact have that written on his back. What a decision he's made here.
If I were a real skull right now, I'd jack it, paint it in palm tree livery, then bottom light it neon style.
His companion wears a simple yet elegant slogan, "Fuck the world." I mean, listen, who among us, right?
Snazzy shit ripped skull mobile like this would make a fine trophy. We could, like, hang fucking shrunken heads from the side mirrors. Cops' heads, scary tribal shit.
Did he say skull mobile? That's a weird... Okay.
Yeah, tribal shit. A cop carriage like this would have proper skull value.
While I appreciate the interest you take in my brutal motor carriage, I have to stop you right there. The RCM takes threats directed at its property seriously.
It's just theoretical work, Copper. No basis in reality. Man, if we were certified skulls right now...
Who are you?
I can tell you who we're not, cop. We're not snitches or skulls.
Okay. What would cause you to write this on the back of your jacket? I'm trying to figure out whether he thinks of it as a slur or whether this is like a reclamation thing. Probably, I'm assuming from the way it was just used by Fuck the World Man, that they think of it as a slur. But if you're thinking of it as a slur, why do you write it on your own jacket?
Which is
I
not
don't
to
know.
say that the skulls are bitches and... On the contrary.
The part of the presentation you want to take home with you, cop man, is we're not part of the skulls. Yet.
Hey Cam, how many bullets you got left? Okay then. Let's indulge in some intellectual exchange. These young men seem eager to share their beliefs. Listen, I think any intellectual exchange we engage with these guys in is going to be pretty one-sided. Do you know anything that took about the murder that took place here? Murder? Yeah, a man was hanged in the backyard of the Whirling in Rags. Yeah, sure, we'll gladly tell you everything we know about it. He clears his throat. It was a man. Also, he was hanged. I might actually drop an I am the law on these guys. Now, let's continue the line of questioning for the moment. My guess is I go, "Don't fuck around, I'm the law," and then they laugh at me, and that's going to hurt my morale. He was hanged from a tree. Yeah, I mean, duh. These punks don't know anything. Let's just move along. Kim is a wise man, but I think this is maybe the truest thing he has ever said. Hey, stop right there. How does one know anything? What does that mean? Fucking philosophy, man? You can just do aggressive shit with philosophy. Justify shit. Like murder, or wasting your life away. Do you guys know Cindy, the skull? The young man's eyes glaze over as he marks in a voice filled with longing. Oh yeah, Cindy's a right proper skull. Yeah, the other guy lights up too. A true artist of the future, just like Arno van Eyck. By the way, if you see Cindy, give her our regards, he adds, returning from whatever void he was just visiting. For all their nihilistic posturing, these young men are not lacking in youthful idealism. Odd, there isn't a hint of hate in them. It's like they're those guys, out of some kind of moral obligation. That's not the correct number of stars. The lieutenant on your life is unusually lenient toward them. Yeah. This is interesting. So, why aren't there more skulls in Martinez? Sorry, why aren't there more skulls in Martinez? The Union does their share of policing in Martinez, at least where the gangs are concerned. The lieutenant replies instead. That's why there isn't much organized crime around here. You know, unless you count the Union. But don't you worry about that. We're gonna make up for the deficit. Yeah, we are. The young men exchange approving nods. You know that we're police officers, right? You can't just tell us that you're going to do crimes. I mean, you can. I can't arrest you for that. But you shouldn't. It's not smart. I see you kids are into anodic dance music? Oh, man, yeah, he exclaims, then stops himself, processing the rest of your question. We're not fucking kids, man. Be wary of the abyss, his blonde friend adds ominously and points to his temple. Why? Why should I be wary of the abyss? It's a threat, the lieutenant answers for the two rebels. An impotent threat of violence. I could tell them I'm one of the bad cops. It's true in a certain way. I'm worried that they'll take it the way it's actually meant. Hey, I just wanted to talk about music. Now there's a conflict all of a sudden? That's too much. That's right, the young man says, looking unsure of himself. You should back off and let silence rule supreme. This is ridiculous. The lieutenant gives you an irritated glance. Boys, do you know why the gang is called Skulls? Yeah, the skull symbolizes the embrace of death and nothingness that is present in all of us. The vehicle of our future operations. Death and nothingness. They're called skulls because when you're shot dead in the middle of the street, the skull is the only part the stray dogs won't eat. And Kim's signaling to us in the caposphere to trust and follow. So, boys, you want to feed the dogs? At this point, I would do basically anything to back up Kim Kitsuragi. No reply. The blonde rebel scratches his chin, deliberately not focusing his gaze on anything. He looks very uncomfortable. The other one shuffles uncomfortably, nevertheless continuing to steal glances at the lieutenant's motor carriage. So your rhetoric is confusing. Are you part of the Skulls or not? We're not franchised Skulls, not yet. Once we get our name out there, we'll have a chance to join. And what makes you think that the organization would accept you? Well, because we could be just as psycho and vicious, you'll see. Again, I'm a police officer. But in a non-threatening and definitely legal way, the other one quickly adds and whispers something to his friend. It will fuck the system from the inside later. Just be cool now. The damage will be tenfold. Yeah, right on. Fuck. The blonde agrees and provocatively spits on the pavement. So what's happening now? What's with your jackets? Please, what is the story with your jackets? What about them? Why does your jacket have that written on it? Why would you do that on your own jacket? Well, first off, it's a statement, and not necessarily something that characterizes me as a person, even though the statement has character. And I do like piss. The word epitomizes the struggle taking place in the world, things being defined as they seem, not as they are. And I guess it's also about communal spirit, the future, and truly appreciating our differences. Also, you've got to admit it catches the eye. And since the Grand Piper is slowly but steadily moving towards basing the economy on it, it is imperative that the medium itself convey the message. Does it make sense? Hold on. Do I think that makes sense at all? Here's the thing. I know art. Obviously I understand art. If we know anything about Raphael Ambrosius Cousteau, it's that he gets art. Yeah, sure. Makes sense. I don't I don't think it actually does, but I do think this version of this character would not want to admit that he doesn't get it. And what I mean by this is, we're all that thing, and that the world is inherently meaningless. I mean, the word itself is kind of meaningless. Okay, why do you have "fuck the world" written on your jacket? Is it the same thing? Like I said before, many men keep searching for the one, for so-called true love, which is actually just obsession masquerading as a kinship. The thrill of the chase, the hollowness that fills your chest cavity after catching it. Did he say that before? I'm wondering if the poetics come with the jacket, or are they derived from something else entirely? To catch a fish, you need to hurl the lure many times, and even then it isn't certain that you'll get anything. If you blow up the lake, though, that is a terrible metaphor, man. You get more fish in a shorter time. And, for time is of the essence and fleeting ever so quickly, one must think of a way to fuck the whole world, and not get caught up in fucking some one. Because when one fucks everything, he fucks nothing. And that, to me, feels glorious. Sticking your dick into the void. Hate to admit it, but in a weird way, he's got a point? Is it a coincidence that here we have 2 badass jackets and 2 badass cops? We are not stealing their jackets. Actually, you know what? I might steal their jackets. If we have the opportunity, we won't wear their jackets, but I feel like they also shouldn't wear their jackets. Hey, Kim. Yes? Do you think it's a coincidence? What is? That there are 2 of us and 2 of these jackets? The lieutenant looks confused. What are you implying? You know what I'm implying. No, I don't. What are you implying? What a fucking question to ask somebody. Yeah, which one of these do you think you are? Neither? Now, come on, Kim, it's just a mental exercise. Fine, if only to end this discussion. Theoretically, if I were a juvenile delinquent, if I were already to be down that path, I think that's the stronger of the 2 statements. No way. Listen, Kim, if anything... No, I'm definitely more of a fuck the world kind of guy. Although this is maybe the funniest line of dialogue we've ever had the option of clicking on for a number of reasons. I think this makes more sense as the character. Yeah, that works. I feel more like a fuck the world kind of guy. Like, pretty frequently, actually. Seems about right, the lieutenant marks. Especially considering your heroic exit attempts. There's an origin story for a dynamic duo right there. So, are we done here? Or, one of the jacket owners asks impatiently, you don't need us around for your secret whisper party, do you? I am not gonna... We almost could pass this. We might be able to pass this. Here's the thing. I get what he's going for. Or at least what he tells me he's going for. That said, I don't think he should be walking around with a jacket what says that on it unless he's going to explain to every person he meets the artistic intent, because there are going to be people who see that and feel like he wants them to not be alive in the world anymore, right? Like, that's the reason that we are not cool with slurs is not because, you know, we got to have laws about words you can say to keep your free speech down. It's because it does actual, like, mental harm to people. So, I would love it if he wasn't wearing that jacket. We definitely have gear that raises our half-light. I'm going to try to get these jackets. Talking with you has definitely been something. Hold on a second. You stay right there. Don't move. I got to change my gloves. I think this might be the only thing. Because, like, they should not be walking around like this. That dude can fucking... If he wants to talk about his art, he can write a thesis like the rest of us did. I'm pretty sure that is the only piece of half-light gear that we have. And I don't have anything reducing my half-light right now. This is minus, so we don't want to equip that. I wish they would let you sort the clothes by, I know the whole inventory system's a little bit more rudimentary than this, but it sure would be nice if you could sort the clothes by, like, slot or by, the stat they have on them. Now, we would only have to roll a 7 to take the jackets.
That ride is fucking lightning.
You're not wrong about that.
Look who it is. shrunken cop head material.
That was a direct threat to kill me and take my head off. So you're arrested, obviously. Kim showed good tactics, and we did demonstrate our authority. Here's a question. This is a game mechanics problem. I want to take these jackets from these dudes, and I do kind of want to wear the Fuck the World jacket. My biggest concern is that if I click this and we pass the check, Kim might put that jacket on and then wear it around for the rest of the game, and I might not be able to get him to take it off. That would be a real bummer. I think I'm going to click on this, and maybe I'm just going to be sad about the outcome, but I do kind of want a black leather jacket, what has Fuck the World written on it in big letters. That feels like me. It also feels like the sort of thing we might want to wear while talking to Cindy. Honestly, we probably have like a whole thing to say to Cindy about what happened here. You know, we should ask who the skulls are, because this is a piece of information that we might be useful when talking to Cindy, and also that we might not get to ask after we, you know, force them to give up their jackets. You don't know? What kind of cop are you? It's not a question. Don't get into it. Oh, I'm so glad you asked. No, I really don't. I really don't know who the skulls are. The skulls are the most vicious gang of the Besmer... Yeah. That's probably not how that's pronounced. His voice rings with excitement. The nastiest bunch of psychos ever, jacking carriages and getting into high-speed chases. Possessing an infinite amount of fuck-all swagger, infamous for their non-verbal modus operandi. I'll just let him keep talking. They usually occupy the burnt-out quarter in Jamrock, or you can find them loitering around their brightly painted, bottom-lighted vehicles. Oh, I can't wait to become a skull. Bottom lights are wretched aggressive. I'm clicking it. No. Don't ask anything. Be subtle and scary. The boys dream about being skulls. Use that. Wait, sorry, how? Suggest they're already massive skulls, come on. Now, boys, with those jackets, you're gonna be the Skull Kings in no time. Wait, no, what? No! He quickly looks around. Skulls don't have kings. He pauses. I think. And we're not even in yet. Yeah, man, keep your voice down. Skulls don't take it lightly when folks pretend to be them, and we're not even prospects yet. Prospect must be a hierarchical term, probably in the lower end. Wait, you're not even prospects and already aspiring to be kings? Wow, you boys are ambitious. The lieutenant's voice rings over the plaza. Only prospects and already planning a coup in the skulls. You're destined to go far. He gets it, passive-aggressive flattery. Shut the fuck up! The youth presses through clenched teeth. There's panic in his eyes. Are you trying to get us killed? Now, bring it to the jackets, and yes, start shouting! Yeah, we want to be a cool killer skulls too, like you guys, but we don't have cool skull jackets! Please be quiet. Not much is left of the nihilistic rebel at this point. The young man before you is scared out of his mind. What? What do you want? The jackets? You got it. No need for cruelty. He says no need for cruelty. I sort of want to shout Skull King make shrunken heads out of us, though. That's pretty funny. He says you got it. We don't have to push, and I'm a little worried that with this thing warning us off, if I do push, it's going to make the situation go sideways. So, you offer us your jackets like that? Well, it'd be impolite to refuse. Oh, man. His shoulders slump under the weight of sadness. Okay, he says finally. I get it. Skulls don't really wear slogans anyway. This was stupid. Okay, we got the leather jackets. Fuck, the other one sighs deeply. The lieutenant watches the boys take their jackets off, with mild amusement. Hey, since you said you're more this guy, I'll take the other one. I'm absolutely okay with not having either one, thank you. But why not? I probably shouldn't push for fear that he'll put the jacket on, but I do kind of want to mess with him a little bit. Why not? They're a pair. I mean, we could really raise hell. Go undercover, hard. This case doesn't require us to go undercover, or raise hell. In fact, I don't think the jackets will be useful at all. I just wanted them to not have them anymore. See, me and Kim are simpatico. We get this. Cold-hearted cop. Alright, well, whatever. I'll take both of them then. Do. I'm fine with that. Pity, the jackets are meant to complete each other. If a man were standing alone on a street corner with that written on his back, it'd just be an individual that has taken a liking to urine. And fuck the world all on its own is, frankly, generic. You know, honestly, that's true. They do, like, together they present an aesthetic that neither one of them really presents on its own. The dark-haired young man just stands there, defeated. The wind blows. I don't know, Eric. It's cold out, he finally says to his friend. Yeah, the blonde man replies. Let's get out of here. These cops fucked us. I really wish that they would call him Eric, now that we know his name is Eric. Alright. Well, I've been thinking, you know, Kim, about this Wompty-Dom Center since we heard those words. And my feeling is that encyclopedia passives give plus 10 XP. What? -2 suggestion because I've become pretentious. But that's phenomenal. That said, we do need to get our encyclopedia skill back up so that will actually fire sometimes. What are the things that are reducing encyclopedia again? Okay, well, obviously this is going nowhere. And Jamais Vu's the other one. That's a real shame because I actually like having that. I think we'll probably just keep both of those and I'll put a skill point into encyclopedia. Maybe that's how we'll do it. I don't have a skill point right now, but we can... That's a thing that can happen. Okay. Oh, I didn't actually read the text. Probably I should. You're at home, stupid cop, not with the art crowd. You hate them. Everyone hates them. Even they hate themselves. It's nauseating. An industry built on sprezzatura and sparkling wine. And, let's be honest, tax evasion schemes. The Wompty-Dumpty-Dom Center is the heart of this unholy symbiosis of aesthetics and tax optimization. And now that you've internalized it, you can have a piece too. I will say that some parts of this are a little bit against our deal as a character. You know, we're actually pretty pro-art. And the loss of suggestion does suck. I want to be good at suggesting stuff to people. My base suggestion is now 0. I don't know. Maybe we'll end up just dropping that thought. I really like the mechanical effect of it, but it doesn't fit very well with who we're building here. Alright. Let's call in about the armor serial number. Pick up the radio. Did you find out more about the owner of the armored boots? Sorry, sir. I still haven't heard back from the database people. Try calling again later. Is there anything else I can do for you? Okay, so it wasn't just tomorrow. It was probably like, try calling 48 hours after you ran the number initially. That's fine. We can come back later. I don't remember exactly when it was that we made that call, but later. We'll come back later. Alright, so, the next thing. We should go and talk to the cryptozoologist about the traps. Probably there is not a lot that's going to come out of this. I doubt we're going to tell him, hey, the locusts in the one trap were dead, and all of a sudden we're going to see a cryptid or anything. But hey, at least we got him back. I'm not allowed to talk to Lena anymore? Sometimes... Okay, there we go.
Sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. I hope we haven't been too much trouble for you.
I'm basically also a cryptozoologist now. Is she gonna... I wonder if she or he are gonna take a little bit of offense to that. Like, oh, come on. We've been working in this field for years. I'll say just doing my job. You know, this was just normal detective work. Item gained 8-eyed Terratorn tie. Here, I want to give you a small token of my gratitude. She hands you a thin ribbon held together by a silver bird skull. It's a tie, Mesca in origin. The pin is an antique, quite special. The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull with 8 eyes. That sounds absolutely wicked. You never told me you've seen the Phasmid. Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings. Ramblings? Nonsense! Your description of the Phasmid is the most precise I've ever heard. But, darling, I didn't even get the size of it right. Measuring things is important. How did she get the size? You were a child, my dear. Really, it's extraordinary what you were able to describe. Now go on, tell our friend about it. He's proven his interest in the field. Oh, maybe he would have accepted me as a cryptozoologist. Reflexively, the lieutenant readies his familiar notebook. Kim, you can put, I don't think that's going to be relevant here. Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When all of a sudden... Wait. Where was this and how old were you? I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5.5, in Betancourt, in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer home there. She'd just started forming memories. Real memories, not the billowy haze of infanthood. I'll tell you what, I don't think I have any memories when I was 5. So, what happened? Strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't know this could happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. She looks at you. After a while, 20 seconds, a minute maybe, it left, went into the reeds. Did you follow it? I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there, knee-deep in mud, looking around me. Then what? I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys, that sort of thing. She brushes her hair back. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel. We were on a date, can you imagine? She tells me a story, and it's the most detailed report of the Insulindian phasmid I'd ever heard. The sounds. She told me it hissed. It did, yes, like reeds in a gust of wind. And the way it moved, the color, how some of its limbs were white like marble, he breathes excitedly. It matched perfectly with what I know from other accounts. It was amazing. If it weren't for Lena, I might have given up hope years ago. It's no exaggeration to say that she restored my faith in the profession. He looks at her with admiration, forgetting the wide smile on his face. You were on a date? Our first, yes. The woman looks at her husband tenderly. The glance is tender, yes, but tempered by something else. A thought she can't express even to him. Interesting. That is interesting. I think we're, maybe getting a suggestion of a slightly different story than the one we're being told here. So its limbs are white. Well, not all of them, he answers for her. There's some white coloration reported, along with beige, where the camouflage ends. And how big was it? It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but that's probably not the case. But what if it is the case? I don't think we need to press on this. I don't think anything good can come from us pressing on this. Thank you for sharing this with me. Maybe I could ask Kim. My concern is if I draw Kim into the conversation, he might say something that prods at her story, and then, I think that could go to a bad place. Let's just say, thank you for sharing this with me. Oh, you're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one. It was just, she sighs, such an impossibly sunshiny day. So warm. And she could get up and walk, right into the reeds on her own, into the mud, anywhere. Yeah, that must be a hard thing to lose. That's all for now, thank you. Okay, wait, what is going on here? Who's this person?
Always a pleasure to see an
Oh, right.
officer of the law.
Oh, right, it's Gary.
I mean, officers.
We don't need to talk to Gary anymore. I'm real done with Gary. Alright, let's go talk to Klasia. I'm hoping that she will be a little bit more forthcoming with the details about the hanged man. And I would really like to get that accomplished before we talk to her about the tape that we listened to. Anything new to interact with here? Oh, right, loose bottles everywhere. I can't believe I wasn't wearing my my plastic bag the first time we came through here. Police work is tough. Thank you, loading screen. You're right on about that. Obviously, I will never take a break, but... So we just have those 2 jackets now, huh? Oh yeah, we also have this thing. Yo! That's extremely cool. I don't know that I'm much of a bolo tie guy, but that is wicked. I might wear that. If I ever had a shirt... Bolo ties probably don't look all that good with t-shirts. But if I ever had a shirt where a bolo tie made sense... it's disturbing, but you can't look away. I think we should probably keep the drama tie equipped for right now. Oh man, should I? Because we can't trust our sense of whether she's lying anyway. Maybe it would be smarter to go more like volition. Our volition is the only part of us that hasn't fallen for her nonsense. So we got a plus half-light jacket, a leather jacket that quite recently belonged to a hoodlum who understood love for what it really is, we assume. It has the hoodlum's nom de guerre written on the back. It's quite a statement. So plus half-life, minus rhetoric. Okay, this one does give different stats. -1 authority. Wait, I'm a detective? Quite recently belonged to a young man who possessed some intimate knowledge on the human condition. Yeah, we're definitely never equipping that one. This one I could see some of the time. I don't know what makes sense to wear for this interview here. Physical instrument is probably not what we need in the shirt slot, but I don't know what we would really benefit from. I guess plus volition. I don't know. I want to approach her with empathy, but also I think volition is important in not falling for any of her manipulations. I don't know that she's necessarily even manipulating us. What I know is that I'm not doing a good job of keeping myself together around her, but that's not necessarily really her fault. It seems like a me problem. Got my empathy shoes on. Plus, Inland Empire might also be helpful. There we go. That's a good professional look. My perception is all kinds of murdered and still super, super high. Do we have any other options with this? Nope. Not putting anything new together. Alright, let's go have a chat with her. Hopefully she's helpful. I feel like we're really, really close to a breakthrough. We still need to figure out, even if we do get the information we're looking for, we're still going to need to find the murder weapon. And she wasn't around when the thing happened, or at least we think she wasn't around, so she's not going to know where the murder weapon is, but... I don't know.
Hello, officer. What brings you up here again?
Let's talk more about this so-called assault. Yeah, what can you tell me about him? I can't talk about this. Okay, so she's still not willing to talk to us about him specifically. I think we should probably talk to her about the recording. We could wait until after she's agreed to give us details about him, but I don't know. It probably doesn't matter too much. Hey, Titus Hardy gave us a recording where the deceased states his intention to commit rape. She puts her coffee cup down, with a soft ring as the porcelain meets the metal table. This does not surprise her. Did he? A smile flits across her face. I never said he was a good man, or that he had good intentions, only that he was never bad to me. She doesn't care. If anything, she sounds amused. And on this tape, he specifically identifies you as the target. Where did they get this recording exactly? It's intercepted radio chatter of the deceased, recorded via a de-encryption station. It's authentic enough. She arches her brow. Does he say he's going to do it Soldier of the Apocalypse style? Those are the exact words he used, in fact. Yeah, that was practically his pickup line. She picks the cup back up. Did he say whores a lot? Was he pretty much on the verge of doing it Lee Schmin style? Lee Schmin was mentioned. He wasn't actually there. He didn't do a tour, or at least didn't tell me he did. Would have been overkill anyway. He lived his own little Leishman. It was in his everything. Well, do you think he was trying to scare people? No, I'm pretty sure he did all those things, and then had to internalize them to keep on living. until they just sort of turned it into his... She thinks, what's the word I'm looking for? She's quite observant about the human character. Trained to observe, even. Sounds like a coping mechanism? Sort of turned it into his persona. Like, it sounds like we're talking about the mechanism he used to cope with some shit that he did, but she was looking for the word persona. Probably, catchphrase actually honestly fits as well. I'm gonna say persona. Running joke. I was gonna say running joke, and it sounds like you didn't even get the good bits. Lully's punchlines got way, way funkier than that. He was like the Seminoles conflict, the Elysium massacre, and the 36 famine in Yisud all rolled into one person, then cast in Orny's ceramic armor, which he wore in bed and in the shower. When he said he was done and done mentally, it didn't sound like a joke. It sounded like a deeply troubled man. He said he was mentally done. That sounds like a broken man to me. Well, she smiles. Maybe I pieced him back together with my magical personality. Yeah, I mean, you put some quotation marks around personality there, maybe. So, you like this kind of stuff? Now, we're all scraping up any happiness we can find, officer. Going around with our little scouring sticks. You, your first love, Mr. Leishman here. Did he tell you he had actually done any of those things? Here in Martinez, I mean. No, we were too busy laying waste our own nervous systems to direct any of the fury outward. He seemed, she thinks, he seemed happy, I guess? At ease, as much as a man like him could be. What kind of man was he? Before you go, ask for details. She seems okay to talk about it. Yeah, I mean, she said his name, right? Thank you for clearing that up, miss. He turns to you. Whenever you're ready. I'm interested to hear what Titus Hardy has to say now. He is not my main concern. So, now that you've had time, can you tell us more about the victim? Like, for example, his name. Actually, officer, I didn't know his name. I just called him Lully. A nickname? I guess he came from Lelystad. It's short for that. And it was his army name, apparently. He said his real name wasn't his. I tried to pry it out of him, but it was no use. Lelystad, that's a good start. The lieutenant writes it down in his notebook. Then tears out a page and hands it to you. We have a few questions you can help us with. A few things a field autopsy alone can't answer. The young woman cranes her neck, trying to catch a glimpse of the page the lieutenant passed to you. On it is a list of autopsy observations recorded neatly in blue ink. Everything left to be clarified is in the column to the left. So, where is Lelystad? The place, I mean. In Orania, officer. I think municipality is the term? A nowhere town there. The Lelystad municipality has few boroughs and even fewer cities. It's made of agricultural plots near the border of Gottwald. Executive summary: cows, silos, wheat. You were almost right, officer. The lieutenant shakes his head like you just missed a shot in darts. That means his race was Occidental, not Mondial. I'll update the form. Yeah, moving on. Her eyes follow yours on the piece of paper. She doesn't mind his questioning. On the contrary, she enjoys thinking back to him now. This is sort of a wake-up for her. Okay, well, I guess that means let's ask her everything. How old was he, miss? He was 42. 42? Are you sure? I would have had him above 50. He had many scars that made him appear older. But, no. The memory makes her smile. We even celebrated his birthday, like, some weeks ago. It was a funny 2 days. He had little reason to lie to me. Looks like you were right, officer. The lieutenant taps on his notebook once, as though assigning some kind of point. Points are good. Have one, you old dog, before we all die. I'm not gonna, I have observed that there's a competition happening. We don't gotta talk about the competition. The young woman looks at you, then the lieutenant, then you. She's clearly sensing something. A spike in testosterone levels, perhaps. Okay, his eye color. Blue, light blue. They were like... She stops, her eyes half closed, then continues. Like little blue galaxies, you know? It was strange seeing those eyes in his fucked up face. Pardon the swearing. She takes a drag. I do him an injustice. He wasn't ugly, and he had a beautiful, soft voice. Very surprising, what with all the scarring. It was quite something watching him speak. He had a combat wound on his chin and mouth? Yeah, severe. She seems to enjoy the word. It made him look like half his face was cracking away in some strange smile. And that and those eyes... Oh, yes, the lieutenant suddenly remembers. His hair, if you can remember. It was light brown, almost blonde. He darkened it with brilliantine, made it oily, not nice to stroke, and I couldn't convince him to leave it alone. And he had a tattoo. What did that mean? Oh, she smiles. That. What did it represent, do you know? It was a map of his life and the places he visited as a soldier. It was mostly for showing off to chicks, though. She said he kept the armor on in bed and in the shower. How would... I guess maybe not 100% of the times that he was in bed with her? For showing off to chicks. How so? How? She leans back, and imagine him lying in bed, freakish musculature laid out on the sheets. Scarred, of course, tattooed. The sheets are dirty for some reason. He's smoking and drinking, of course, and his chest and shoulders and arms are studded with stars. Tens, hundreds of them, maybe even thousands. And the woman goes like... She points at the air with her sharp-nailed finger, picking out an imaginary tattoo. What was this, baby? And he says, she lowers her voice comically, oh, that was too hardcore. Don't ask me about that. So she goes, okay, but what's this, baby? And he's like, saw some bad shit there. Killed some loincloths. And so it goes. Star after star, port after port, third world country after third world country. And he's done horrible things in every single one of them. You were the woman in this. Oh, yeah, she nods. Well, can you tell us precisely what these mean? No, thank you. She does not take it. I've seen enough of him dead. I can tell you what they meant without looking at them. She pours herself some more coffee. Well, go on. He was a blue-eyed boy with thick arms from a small town. He was also poor, and the government of Aranya needed some people killed, so they turned him into a grotesque killer, for money. He went to Killer Academy in Vridfort. Then he killed some people on the Semenine Islands, and on other islands too, all of the islands. After this he came to Revachol and got killed himself. Not a very fun story. It is when you're high. It can be very exciting then. You have the tools to deal with it. It's not a very nice story to remember when you're sober. She smiles faintly. Change of topic? Something miraculous is coming, he told me. Am I half remembering a conversation that I had with that dude, or is this a total lie? Let's just proceed down the list for a moment here. Could it be love that did him in? It very well could be, yes. What do you mean? What do I mean? She raises an eyebrow. I have no idea. I don't even know what you mean. Love did him in? What does that mean? He told me love did him in? That's not funny, officer. Her voice is like a slash through the air. Her shoulders tense up. There, she momentarily lost control over Straightback Guy. It appears she feels guilty. And that's interesting. So, am I misremembering? Am I failing to remember us remembering a conversation with the dude before he died? Because I don't feel like I knew that he and I had a conversation. But it's also, my memory is for garbage, so it might just be me. She feels guilty. Should I straight up ask her about that, or is that something we should file away? She feels like she was partially responsible. And I mean, like, I get that, right? Knowing how jealous Titus got about her. I'm going to go ahead and ask her. Of course I do. I'm hungover. I feel guilty about everything. but do you feel guilty about what happened to him? Among many other things, yes. I could have done something. There's always something you can do, right? She looks into her coffee. Ask me something else. What is this, an interrogation? You didn't tell her this was going to be an interrogation. Okay, calm down, Rhetoric. She doesn't need any more help. Something miraculous is coming. He told me. The man next to you blinks. His expression does not change. Alright, let's see where this is going, he thinks. From way out in the northwest. He told me. Oh man, this does sound familiar. Cool, the woman nods. That's less reaction than I was expecting. I guess we're finished with this line of questioning? Alright. The lieutenant puts the slip back in his notes and observes the young woman for a moment. Coolly, gracefully, she pours herself more coffee, so I don't think we have anything else to say to her then, or anything else to ask her about anyway. That was weird. Wait, stop. That man, bloated beyond all recognition, was 42? That's what she said, yeah. Below the damage, the weeks of decomposition, all the swollen indignity of mortality, he was 42 years old. Where's this going? How old are you? That's where this is going. 45,000 liters of raw alcohol has left its disfigurements. And what lies beneath, you wonder? You could ask either one of them. No, hold on. I got this. My age. I think I'm... Yes? In my early 30s? A rough 30? No, I think that's more than 30. Oh my god, I have no idea. Probably middle-aged, but... Ooh, or am I 300 years old? This is a good dramatic answer. You know, the thing I like about this answer is it's not a literal guess attempt, which means that, in a way, it can't be wrong. Oh, I'm old. A wizened sage who has seen it all across 300 years. Hold on, we know how many cases we've solved. So we've been in service 18 years. So I've definitely got to be beyond 30. Unless I started being a cop when I was 12. I'm going to say the top one here. Yeah, but probably not, though. Do you want to know the truth? Yeah, bring it on. I'm not afraid of the truth. To the laboratorium! Alright, well, we gained a thought that I can slot to try to figure out how old I am. Your face looks like it's 58, and your body feels like it's 60. Your mind feels like it's lived for 1 day or 100. Both longer than they ought to be, the day and the century. But for how long, then, has this thing attached to your sentience walked the planet's crust? Time to start racking those brains of yours, Elder One. When and where were you born? I still think there's some chance we'll just drop Wompty Dumpty Center because of Wompty Dumpty Dom Center because it doesn't really fit with our character, who our character is. But man, I love this bonus. And if we do, then probably we'll go ahead and slot this because figuring out who we are is going to be an essential part of building over top of that foundation, right? God, look at the art in this game. Alright, this has been a weird one, but I think that's maybe where we're going to call it for today. Yeah, like a real weird one, right? Come back next time, tomorrow, for hopefully something weirder still. And we'll see you then.